supercars.co.za. Welcome to Africa's first ROG arena. Woo!
There we go, folks. It's the start of the Mercedes-Benz ATK Pro Series. And this, of course, is the Gran Turismo edition. And we are at the incredible Fuji Speedway in Japan, where these drivers will be finding out who exactly is the fastest on what is one of the fastest circuits in the world. My name is Ernest Page, and joined by Daniel Haynes. Big Dan, are you ready for some Gran Turismo visuals, some good racing? And I see some names from last year also joining us. Welcome, Dan. Let's go.
Yeah, excited to come back and actually be part of this Gran Turismo adventure. So this is slightly new for me. I immediately put that out there. So you guys are going to have to bear with me as I start to get more and more familiar with this sim. But I think it's pretty new for others as well, because Gran Turismo 7 is our switch. And we moved from GT Sport from last season. So there's going to be a little bit of changes. I'm not 100% sure on the biggest change between the two sims, but we're moving on to a new sim, and I think it's going to be interesting to see what sort of name rises to the top.
Yeah, I forgot you weren't invited to the last one. So this party, the invitation has been extended to my co-commentator from the 9 Hour, Daniel. Your voice always brings this international flavor, and fitting though, because we're heading all the way to Japan to an iconic circuit.
Yeah, this is a real typical Gran Turismo circuit, isn't it? It features in Gran Turismo since the early days. I'm not going to tell you when I last saw it, but I'm not so familiar with this circuit due to the fact that it's been mostly reserved for Gran Turismo, but it's about to go into the limelight because it got announced this week that it'll be released into iRacing as well, and that'll put a load of sim racers on board in a different sort of community. But I'm interested to see how the GT Sports are a bit more familiar with this than anyone else, how they go around this circuit.
Yeah, in my competitive Gran Turismo days, I love this circuit. It's one of my favorites, and the corners are all very, very technical. You can see if you look at the track map, they sweep one into the next, kind of similar to the way a lot of Japanese circuits sweep one into the next. But what's interesting about this one is that there are a lot of sacrifice corners. There are a lot of corners you've got to wait, and going onto that main straight, I mean, you've just got to pause. You've got to pause and wait. And we've discussed this before, Dan. The corner before the longest straight is the most important one. And in this case, that last corner is absolutely critical for the likes of the drivers driving. Speaking of drivers driving, I see a lot of the DMR guys are in the chat. So welcome to all of you guys in the chat, those that are and those that aren't driving. But looking through the names, there are a bunch of DMR drivers, and Dean Noke looks like once again he's tipped to be near the front of the pack. He's joined by Michael Roux, Vincent Nel, Steven Mocker, and then Kaketso Pilani also in the mix, the winner of the showdown from last year, Dan. And if you recall, he had a bit of an upset situation in the showdown last year.
Yeah, I do remember him because I was part of the showdown. That was my first introduction to Gran Turismo, and Kaketso Pilani was immensely fast, wasn't he? Immensely fast, until I believe he had hardware failure on the very last race. We had already wrapped it up by that point. So looking from qualifying, he not necessarily at the top in qualifying in the seeding run. So whether he's there or not, Dino topped the qualifying runs, and he was the winner from the last official GT Sports series. So obviously a name to look out for.
Yeah, Dean Noke, Dino, or Diamari Dino as he's called. is definitely one of the guys to look out for. He was absolutely dominating the championship last year until they went into the final. So I do suspect that he once more will be one of those guys to watch out for. And the times were so close. All top 5 drivers, including Kaketso in 5th place, were in the 46-second range, from 146.6 to 146.9. Then in the 47-second range, sees everybody all the way to 12th position. Henny Besaidenout with a 147.7, and 6th place man Zivan with a 147.0. In 13th position, Roman Yonko was a little bit down on pace with 148.2, but who knows what's going to happen in the race, because it's a long 40-minute race, and these drivers can definitely claw their way through as we now head straight into qualifying, Dan. And I think your guess is as good as mine as to what the tactics are. We saw it at the previous rounds of the Pro Series, where some of the drivers were holding their cards a little bit close to their chest.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what sim it is, does it? That's just that translates to all sims that holding their cards close to their chest. No one will give out. And I know I remember speaking to Dino for the last round for the MSA Showdown, going through the intricacies of this sim. And just like any other sim, these guys are so well prepared, and they know all of the tiny little details just to get those few millimeters or few fractions of a second to improve their lap time.
This is Liam Pisanello. And Liam over here, that car just looks fantastic, doesn't it? Running the Red Bull livery over there. Wow, that looks very cool in those colors over there. Number 76 Mercedes-Benz. And of course, the Mercedes-Benz ATK Pro Series, now a one-make series. And we saw this with Gran Turismo with GT Sport, but it's so exciting when you've got a one-make series. Oh, there's Kaketso going in his ATK livery. Oh man, he is a proper sponsored driver. He's got Puma on there, he's got ATK on there. That must feel so cool. Yeah,
that looks seriously good.
Yeah, that must feel so cool. Just look at the way the red line runs around the grill over there as Stephen Berry, Carl Oosthuizen, Jean-Claude Abrams all say konnichiwa in the comments over there, because we've just landed in Fuji into Japan.
It's a very aesthetically pleasing track, isn't it? We've got Mount Fuji in the background. When we'll see a certain camera angle of it, it does look pretty immense. I haven't been there yet. I was supposed to go there, and then COVID happened. So
sucks.
Japan's going to have to go on the back burner, I'm afraid. Yeah, I had it all booked and everything. Very disappointed, but it will happen at some point. But this looks like a circuit to go to.
Oh, yes, indeed. It's definitely one of those bucket list circuits. And what from the guys that I've spoken to that have driven there, they say the view of the mountain of Mount Fuji in the background, I mean, it's an emotional moment if you're going to be there, and more so if you're going to drive there. Speaking of driving with Mock on the circuit at the moment, and also one of our competitors from last year, SMP3 Pro, Stefan Mocker, and he was one of the competitors from last year's championship. He sees himself back at the moment, 4/10 of a second down in qualifying right now, the 137.8, at least in that section over there. And he is now 3/10 of a second down. So he's still got Vincent and Kaketso, who leads us off in first position over there, 52.7 second sector time over there. So let's see how he does as we make our way now through the final sector. And this section over here, man, so tricky. You just got to wait and wait until you get back on the power again. As you can see, some of these corners tighten up on each other, especially this one over here. And the last corner starts from here. You got to line it up perfectly for the final turn over here as the drivers now make their way around this final turn. We now jump on board with Dino, who's also in that final complex section. He's on his outlap right now. There is Mount Fuji in the distance. These drivers are really going to be enjoying the view, but they can't too much because they've got to get those times down.
I'm a massive fan of the custom liveries in Gran Turismo 7. That's for sure. There's some epic looking cars going around this circuit, aren't they? So we get to enjoy that at least.
Pretty epic stuff indeed as they go down the main straight there. This is one of the fastest, longest straights in motorsport, about 1.5 kilometers long. Okay, we were just talking about this today, you and I, Dan, getting on the brakes at over 200 k's an hour. Imagine going down this main straight. I mean, your brakes must be toast after that first corner.
Yeah, brake fade would be a real issue here in anything that isn't a supercar like this, wouldn't it be? And we did a few laps, actually, interestingly, at the ATK arena earlier, just to at least say we've been slightly familiar with the sim. And it felt like a bit of an understeer moment was what you've got to watch out for. It seemed quite a forgiving car to drive, but it just washes out a little bit. So they'll be patient on the power.
They'll be patient on the power, and of course these guys are running the same car over here, so they'll have to compete against each other on similar terms. And that makes it so tricky, because you've got to make sure that you look after those tires, look after the car. The tires are on 5 times the default wear, so the drivers have to look after those tires and make sure that they make it all the way through to the end, and looking after the car as well. It's going to be an absolutely competitive race today. We saw it last season where, man, it gets so competitive in Gran Turismo because the guys run nose to tail for multiple laps. We don't see it as much in the other sims, but Gran Turismo, you see the guys literally on top of each other, lap after lap after lap. I cannot wait because, as I said, Fuji is one of my favorite GT circuits. Oh, big moment there from Singh as he gets a bit of oversteer. And we're just saying that this car understeers a little bit, but looks like some of the guys are able to get a little bit of oversteer out of the car.
Yeah, something I was struggling to do. I was almost trying to force it to do it, and it wouldn't. But we were on the controller, and I'm sure it'd be a little bit easier. We need to get it on the wheel and pedals, that's for sure.
I thought we weren't going to mention that we were on the controller.
We were given what we were given. We were given what we were given. I think there may be 1 or 2 that still use a controller here, and I believe you can still be very, very quick. But Ketso Polani's currently our provisional pole sitter. Here we are riding on board with him. So I think maybe a little sandbagging in the seeding runs.
Yes.
Possibly.
Yes. And
I don't want to put that out there, but
yeah, but this is what
have.
we've come to expect from these guys. Definite sandbagging, or at least strategy. Let's not call it sandbagging, as Kaketsu gets a 1.5 second penalty there, but currently right on top by 0.2 of a second with a 1:37.7, the fastest time there by Kaketsu Pilani. Second place, Dino over there. Dino's changed his nick on the server. Obviously, this is a new sim for them. So the guys have changed their names on the server, as Dino now finds himself in second position and going through the final few corners over. He's coming up to the GR Supra corner, turn 11, and then into Panasonic corner, 12R. And of course, we're talking about this earlier on. The 12R is the radius of the corners in meters. Most familiar one, of course, being 130R, which is at Suzuka.
Yeah, an incredible, insane corner as well, isn't it? 130R. We got a 100R here in turn 4, so they're just 30R short. But I'm still probably just as epic.
Oh yeah.
Dino's gone pole. Dino's snuck the pole.
Dino's gone pole, snuck it in there. And now 1:37.6. So Dino showing his class and showing his pace. And last year he did have a little bit of trouble dealing with the Ketso, but maybe this year things might be a bit different.
Yeah, they were teammates for the MSA showdown at the end of the season, but obviously Kaketso's obviously been poached by ATK. Can't blame them because of the pace that they showed. So we get a bit of rivalry, which is quite nice because it's nice to see 2 guys going at it, and you're not ever wondering in the back of your head whether some sort of team orders are at play.
Well, this team is so strong, the DMR guys, making up the top 4 of the standings with the Ketso in 5th place. And just below that, Zivan over there, and Levitius, as he's known, Liam, just behind that, not in DMR for Zivan, of course, but Liam not in the DMR team. And then more DMR guys, Michael and Damien, also in the mix over there. A couple of names, unfortunately, not on the list this year. And the guys in the chat, feel free to give us some information on you guys there. I see Kalen Miles in the chat, so he's clearly not driving. That's a bit of a pity. But the guys are showing some props over there and sending some love to all the guys on the stream and making sure they support their respective drivers as Dino hits the main straight once again.
Yes, we had Kalen Mauer. We were looking at him earlier in ACC in the replay of the stream from last weekend in the Mercedes-Benz ATK Pro Series. So he's made the transition from Gran Turismo, but it's nice to see that he's still supporting his mates back in the GT community.
Yeah, Dino currently just under 0.2 of a second faster than Kaketsu. So absolutely nothing in it. He's gone faster still with a 1:37.601. 1:37.601. And Dino looking fantastically good there so far. Vincent goes first. Vincent now, who was running in 3rd place,
Wow, big changes at the end.
Goes first.
Oh, look how close by it. Look at the gap as well. 4/100ths of a second to get first position. So right at the death, everyone's fighting for pole here.
Oh, right at the death indeed. The clock is ticking down as Vincent get a 137.561, and he wasn't anywhere near that 137, but somehow manages to get it this time. And an incredible time from him there, 137.561. Kalen says, "I'll be back." Should I say that in an accent?
Please don't. Please don't.
Should I?
Please don't. I'm just thinking, we got Michael Rowe that was second in the pole seeding times and currently in 6th position here. So he's just struggling maybe when it counts. Only got 15 minutes. With seeding, you get as many laps as you want. That's always pays dividends. If you can, you've got to be able to pull it out with the 1 lap run, aren't you? You got 15 minutes. You've got to be able to pull it out when it counts.
Kaketso goes on top again with 0.3 of a second lead this time. Oh, that car does look good though, doesn't it? Wow, that car looks fantastic. Whoever did that livery, you should get a thumbs up. Vincent now running second with Dino in a respectable third, but so uncharacteristic for him. I mean, his domination last season was just so epic as Vincent ducks into the pits, maybe to get some fresh rubber.
This looks cool. I love these pit animations.
Qualifying is over. Dan, qualifying is over, and Vincent dips into the pits. But the guys look a little bit frantic over there, but no need, boys. Put the guns away. It's no need, and that is what your qualifying looks like. Unbelievable. Kaketso Pilani does the deed right at the end there, Dan. I mean, I wouldn't say who'd have thought, because we kind of saw that coming, but still an unbelievable turn of events as Kaketso Pilani takes the top spot.
Yeah, to do it right at the death, and by 0.3 of a second as well. That's quite a big gap, isn't it?
Yeah.
Considering that after 15 minutes they were split by next to nothing. So he just managed to find something from somewhere. I don't know where it was, but he found it.
Ooh, unbelievable. Just behind him was Vincent, of course. And just behind that was Justina. As we go straight into the race, off we go. The drivers are heading down into the first position. There goes Kaketso. Levitius tries to dive in. Mark ducks in 4th position. So far, they still line astern as the drivers make their way through the first couple of corners.
Wow, look at all the DMR liveries as they're all trying to hunt down that new ATK Mercedes-Benz AMG. I mean, he's a little bit sort of on his own, isn't he, old Kaketso Pilani? But if he stays in front, he won't mind whatsoever. He's got to watch out for these DMR teams. They can work together, and that might prove a benefit later on.
Yeah, Kaketso's not going to mind too much as they go through the hairpin now through turn 6 and turn 7 into the slight turn 8 and then into 300 odds, a 300-meter long right-hand sweep. And these corners are, as I said, so technical. Now they go through turns 10, 11, 12, which is the Dunlop section. Usually with the GT racing, you can actually cut straight through there. But this time they're going through the chicane. Look how close they go to those curves. As Vincent, it says 0.5 of a second, but he looks very close behind Kaketso.
Yeah, it really does look really close, doesn't it? And we saw before in the MSA showdown that I was unfamiliar with how close these cars can drive together in Gran Turismo. And I'm wondering whether the draft plays such a huge factor on that 1.5 kilometer straight. Be interesting to see whether that does play more of a role than it does in some other sims. Here we go.
I think it would. We've spoken about this before. The slipstream effect in Gran Turismo is quite strong, and the slipstream effect on Fuji Speedway is exceptional because of this 1.5 kilometer straight. As Dino ducks into 3rd place, Mark in 4th over there. We've still got Vincent in 2nd place, Pilani still in 1st place. We've got the rest of the pack fighting it out to the back. It looks like someone's made an overtake there in 5th position. That's Levitius and Nedel Jokovic. I need to get that name right over there in 5th position. Rue down in 7th place as the rest of the field tucks in behind each other. But so far, the guys are slotting into position one after the next and just trying to keep it on the circuit as they make their way through one more lap. They've got 40 minutes of racing to go and only 2 minutes down, Dan. So we've got a big race ahead of us yet to go.
That's it. And already on lap 2, it looks like the front 4 are just splitting away from the back of the field. So we've got 2 groups forming. We've got Kaketso Pilani dragging along 3 DMR drivers. And then behind him, Stephen Mocker is Mocker is the last one, and 5th position is pulling along the rest of the field. But a little bit of gap between 4th and 5th place as they try and hunt down the leader.
Yeah, just heard now the Pool B race currently being won by Rav. So well done to the guys in the Pool B race. Just getting the updates here via the stream, and keep those comments coming, guys. Looking like you're taking pics for Tinder. I'm just you don't want to read these things aloud because some of these things happen. Oh, the back
outside.
Oh, Singh connects and Singh runs wide there. Luckily, nothing terminal. He tries to rejoin and knocks out. But he knocks out one of the other cars there. That looks like KBR over there gets a nudge. And Singh and KBR come together. Luckily, KBR was managing to recover there, but that could have been bad. We are pace on the back of that car there, so Singh getting involved in a couple of tussles and slips down to 10th position.
Yeah, I think the stewards might want to look at that one, but this one is a self-policing race, isn't it? The console does it for you, so if you can get away with it, you will. And now we've got Singer trying to come back, and he's very nice. I really like that livery as well, with the Mercedes Petronas AMG skin.
Yeah, but if it's a pace car, you know, the pace guys always have fantastic liveries. They've been known for their fantastic liveries. As Nigel Merlin in 8th position. He was running 7th in qualifying. He's now down to 8th. So he's going to want to push a little bit harder. Also a DMR car, as you can clearly see, as Henny makes his way through. And Henny over there in 9th position.
So only lap 3. There's that understeer we're talking about. He's like properly round the outside of there. Just manages to stay on circuit.
But that is one of those corners where you're going to get understeer. It's one of those corners you kind of got to chuck the car, dip it in there. But if you don't dip it in correctly, you're going to get understeer. Singh was in 8th place in qualifying early on. Now in 10th position, slipped down a little bit. Kaketso still out in front though, as we cut to number 8 man Nigel Merlin. Who was 7th, slipped down 1 position, now currently in 8th. He's got no one around him though, so the head down, the 7th and 6th position guys are battling it out there big time.
And you'd expect a bit of understeer on the sort of corners we're looking at as well. I mean, they're fast-paced, big, wide, sweeping bends with a big front engine pushing out on it. I mean, obviously this car can be a bit tail-happy, but maybe in the slower stuff, not in these just long, sweeping corners, as the weight of the car plays a factor.
Liam over there putting some pressure on Michael Roux. Michael Roux second. Oh, gets the draft. Michael Roux under big pressure now. Liam's going to want to go down the inside as they go towards the hard braking zone. Does he do so? He doesn't even have a look at it. Michael Roux does well to brake hard. Those brakes glowing there. And Liam has to hold back and wait for the next lap. But let's see if Michael's going to be able to hold him off for much longer.
So not quite as much draft as I was expecting there, because he was tucked in deep behind the back of that AMG for half that straight, wasn't it? Not quite enough to be able to pull out and make a move up the inside.
Yeah, a little bit disappointing there. I was hoping for a little bit more draft effect from these guys because I think they would have made things very interesting on the straight over there as Roux gets a little bit sideways. But I think the drivers might not be quite as happy. And that's that corner over there.
That is the line, isn't it? They go very, very wide. Right out. They're almost straddling the outside curb. But these guys won't miss a trick. If that's the quickest way around, that's the way they go.
That's the quickest way around. We're on board with Roux now, beating his best so far. 139.6 his best lap so far, but a little bit faster this time as he now gets a little bit of breathing room between him and Liam. Liam having lost out a little bit there just after that first braking zone. And Roux doing well, slipping and sliding around the circuit. A little bit of oversteer there from him. But Nigel Merlin looking on as the 6th and 7th place drivers put a little bit of air between themselves.
I saw a video on GT7, I think about a week or so ago, where someone had discovered that actually straddling the curbs increases your lap time because you for whatever reason, it's the quickest way around. The way the physics go, you sort of work your way around it that way. I'm wondering whether that is a factor here, or whether that's been patched out and I'm just being ignorant. I'm not sure. Anyone in the chat might be able to let us know whether because if there's an exploit in a sim, you can guarantee sim drivers will take advantage of it until it no longer exists.
Oh yes, of course, but that's the game though, isn't it? I've always said in motorsport,
100%.
if you're not breaking the rules, you're bending them, and that's okay. That's kind of how the game works. That's how life works. You're allowed to, there's always going to be somebody that's going to bend the rule book. It's been the case for forever. So just because this is sim racing doesn't make it any different. If you're not breaking the rules, if there's an exploit available, if you can stick NOS inside the roll cage, and that's what you're going to do.
Exactly, and it is part of it, isn't it? You look for absolutely, I mean, track limits is one thing, but also when it comes to the sim, each one's got a slight different nuance about it. to get that ultimate lap time, and these guys are as prepared as anyone else for Gran Turismo.
Speaking of ultimate lap times, it looks like Dino's trying to find his ultimate lap time. He's best of 138.6, but Kaketso with the best of 138.4 so far. So Dino just lacking a smidgen of pace on Kaketso. Consistency though from Dino. Just look at that. 138.6, 138.8, and a 138.7.
So it looks pretty evident from the fact in the seeding that Kaketso has held something back just a little bit, and he's kept it for race day. Who can blame him? If you've got it, you can do that. And it'll be interesting to see whether, I mean, that was easy transition from Gran Turismo Sport into GT7, or what the biggest changes that these guys have had to deal with. So when we speak to the drivers later, that's a question maybe we can put to them.
Yeah, I'd love to hear from the guys in the comments here what they're finding the big differences between GT7 and GT Sport. Send those comments in the comments. Malose Sabata, keep it clean when you do, when you do though.
Because they haven't had long, have they? This, I mean, GT7's only been out a few weeks. I mean, they're probably all still looking for those exploits or changes or something that can just give them the edge. Whereas GT Sport, they were very, very familiar with. So they're probably still learning as they go a little bit.
Yeah, of course. And I mean, but that's okay. The guys, we've got a yellow flag situation. The guys are still going to be learning the car. They're still going to be learning. There will be nuances that you only figure out later on. And I mean, I remember with GT, I think it was GT4, in a competition in a 24-hour race, after 12 hours, the chassis would just the chassis would just change. But it was the only way to figure that out was to play the game for 12 hours, which at the time none of us had done consecutively. We've only done like hour-long simulations. So these guys are going to be finding things out as they go. But again, you've got the internet now to get all these resources. You've got much more information than before. And these are the best Gran Turismo drivers in the country. So if anybody's going to be able to figure out, is these guys, as we see our fourth place man over there, Zivan, in the Mercedes-Benz number 13. 1.8 seconds the gap to the front, 1.5 seconds the gap to the back. Gets a little bit squiggly there, and his best time so far, a 139.1, a little bit, but 6/10 of the pace of Kaketso.
And obviously we've got 6 rounds, and this series is going to finish on the 2nd of October, so it's going to be interesting to see where any drivers find stuff as the season goes on. Obviously, this sim being quite new, Kaketso Pilani's already hit the ground running from GT Sport straight into GT7. But we've got 6 rounds. This is only round 1. We have a drop round as well. So if some guys are taking a little bit more time to find their feet, this could be their drop round. And then they've got a bit of a gap until we get to round 2, which is Mount Panorama, which I love. That's going to be really interesting for the next round. Those walls of death. I wonder how that comes across in GT7.
Yeah, I think that GT is more suited to something like Mount Panorama. It does look like the guys are able to place the cars exactly where they want them to, and that's the kind of circuit where you've got to do that, man. You've got to place the car absolutely perfectly as you go from one corner into the next, especially at the top of the mountain where, man, I still haven't mastered that section over there yet. You just got to keep it pinned, but at the same time, every single turn's got to be picture perfect, because if you make one mistake, you're going into a very, very hard concrete wall.
I don't know what the damage is like here, but you just want to avoid it anyway, because the speed and the lap time you lose. I'm definitely thinking through 100R and hairpin here, straddling those curves is a tactic, because I cannot believe that would be the line you would normally take through there.
Yeah, these guys would know, though. They definitely would know. Just look at that as TTV goes a little bit wide over there. That is Liam over there, goes a little bit wide, and so we've just heard now that TTV has made a mistake with tires, and instead of going on the mediums, he's gone onto the hard tires. That is a critical mistake from him. He has to pit, and looks like this could be his drop round, because that is an absolutely critical mistake. He does win the prize for one of the best looking cars here, but certainly not one of the fastest, as he squeals down on the brakes on those very, very hard compound tires.
So he has to run the medium at some point during this race, basically. So starting on the hard makes a compulsory pit stop inevitable for him. I don't know whether there's any other pit stops happening during this race, or whether that'll play back to him later, but that's something we can look at. Obviously, we're only 12 minutes into this race so far.
Yeah, 12 minutes in, and just look at the tires. He's really struggling with that car. He's just trying to get the hang of it, but unfortunately way down the order. Solid times for running that hard compound, but in Gran Turismo, the difference between racing hard softs and racing mediums, it's noticeable.
Yeah, and obviously on these corners, which are such high-speed sweeping bends where you're at the edge of grip anyway, that's going to just accentuate that understeer we talked about.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, he must be getting chronic understeer at the moment in that car.
Yeah, just sailing off the circuit.
Oh, shame, man. What a pity. What a pity. I'm wondering if it was producing and get us some insight, if there was a strategy choice or if it was him wanting to, if he made a mistake.
Yeah, you can't imagine you'd make that sort of mistake. Or it might play out later on in this race and it comes back to him. I'm not sure. We'll see.
Yeah, well, I'm just looking at the stream comments here. The guys are already strategizing how to get Kaketso over to ACC. So
he's a wanted man. Although Kaketso didn't he partake in the virtual Kiami 9 hour? I'm sure he did a stint there. I might be incorrect.
I think you might be spot on with that. Oh, 6 and 7 swapping positions there,
the hard tyre's looking all right here. But
looking okay.
Look, there you go. He can't keep that inside line washing out wide, isn't he? And Michael Roux could come back at him.
Michael Roux comes, and that's something must be off with Michael Roux as well. He was second fastest in qualifying, so Michael Roux seems to be having a problem over there. I wonder what's going on with him. Michael Roux was down in 6th place. Vincent was down Vincent was in 2nd place. He's now in 5th position. So this is an interesting turn of events for Roux. I was really expecting Roux to be a little bit further up the order today, but it's not over yet. It's not over yet. Only 15 or so minutes done as we go on board with Roux now chasing down TTV. And someone's in the pits there. Yeah, someone's come out. Singh's come out to the pits. He's on the mediums now. And let's see how he does.
We're going to get plenty of pit stops then, it appears like. So it's something with the tyre wear at 5x, does that make an issue? And fuel wear at 5x must force them into a pits in a 40-minute race.
Well, so far we've seen a couple of pit stops. Let's see if we're going to be seeing more at 5x, where racing hard is king. But you don't need to change them in the race. They were lost, says Kyle Oosthuizen. And so let's see. I mean, this is really could boil down to strategy. And it's going to get interesting if that means that TTV could see himself further up the order. We don't know.
But you have in the rules, you've got a mandatory tyre of racing mediums has to be used during the race. So
yeah, but that's the maximum.
He could do a splash and dash.
Yeah, so racing mediums has to be used as the maximum softness. You can't go racing soft, but you can go racing hard as part of your strategy if you think that over the course of 40 minutes that's going to be faster.
Right. So you might just be able to run that out. So we definitely could have a strategy call coming into play in a 40-minute race. And what's interesting, it's the tyre wear X that makes the difference, isn't it? Because a normal 40-minute race would just be a complete sprint. Yes. No one's doing anything. Yeah. You're just fastest, off you go, quick as you can. Whereas the tyre wear and the fuel wear is what makes this a strategy race. I
do like the fact that there is a little bit of tyre wear and fuel wear. And I also like the fact that Kaketso is running real sponsor livery over there. He's got Logitech on the car. He's got Puma on the car. I mean, that must be super cool. He would have designed that himself. Oh, Kaketso gets it sideways there. And that was not good for Kaketso Pilani over there. That was a bit of a moment there. I mean, we've all had moments like that in real cars or otherwise. I tell you, that's heart in hand stuff there, isn't it?
Yeah, he's pushing. He really is pushing because he knows that Dino's on his tail. Any mistake, he'll capitalise. It does squirm all over the place, doesn't it?
Dino's now currently 3 seconds down, and the times are starting to slow down a little bit. 38.4 is fastest. Now does a 39.3 his last lap. So let's keep watching and let's keep seeing if Dino's able to pull him in a little bit and see if that makes a difference over the course of the next couple laps.
3.4 seconds between these two, and there's only 16 minutes gone of this race of a 40 minutes, which is effectively a full-on endurance race for Gran Turismo 7 with all the tyre wear that we're having to deal with. So Kaketso Pilani, you've got to keep your concentration.
Oh, Kaketso Pilani's got to stay focused. And in the zone, he's 0.3 of a second down so far. The gap now tumbling down only to 3.1 seconds, but it was on 3.3 earlier. Let's see if Dino is able to chase him down. Dino also did a very slow lap, so all of the tires are going off here by the looks of things. Dino did a 140 in his last lap, which is not ideal, coming from a best of 138.6.
Which was lap 2. So yeah, they're either saving fuel or they're saving tires, or the tires are going away from them, and we're going to see a strategy call very shortly.
Well, we saw that last year with fuel-saving strategies last season, where the drivers were very much managing the fuel load, and we saw some guys crossing crossing the line with 0 fuel when we went on board with it. So we saw some guys running out of fuel last season as well. So it's definitely could be down to a fuel saving strategy. The gap now 3.8 seconds. So Kaketso punches back.
You wouldn't think that would be so advantageous on a shorter circuit such as this. I'm looking down and we've got like the final round, round 6 is the Nürburgring, not just the GP circuit, the entire Nordschleife. How do you sort the fuel out there?
How far do you want to drive? Yes.
Yeah, that's it. Just,
how long do you want the lap to be? Yes.
But you could get it very wrong very easily there, couldn't you?
Very easily. I mean, if you don't make it back to the pits, we saw it in the real GT racing last year at the Kyalami 9 Hour, where one of the Audi GT4 ran out of fuel right by the pits. As Kaketso Pelani pits now, gets to the pit lane running those Michelin tires, and the team working very hard over their Pilot Sport GT would be the tire they'd be using.
That looks fantastic. I have to say, the pit animation is insane.
Yeah.
That is better than any sim I've seen.
Way better. I mean, that's just phenomenal. But look, those guys do look like they're standing around doing nothing, just watching the fuel guy do his job. They probably need to just go, I don't know, work on a laptop or something, but they're sticking around anyways. The Lollipop Man's about to do, he looks like he's on edge at the moment, ready for action. Kaketso Pelani certainly would be, as the rest of the drivers make their way as 9 and 10 battle it down the main straight of Fuji. This is what we've come to expect from Fuji Speedway. KBR takes the inside line and goes down the inside. Oh, Jones touches him over there, runs around the outside.
And Kaketso's joining the party as well, so we've got 3 cars here.
Kaketso gets in the mix, and this is for position. Kaketso Pelani would be a lot faster than Romes, though, losing out big time over there. Looks like that's Romano Jonker over there, losing out a little bit. He was running down in 13th position, now currently in 11th. And Kaketso Pelani now going on the attack to Renier over there just in front of him, who started out in 10th position in qualifying yesterday, in the previous qualifying, as Kaketso now starts to apply the pressure. He's going to want clean air, though. He's not going to want to deal with these guys that battle it out with these guys as he goes.
And he doesn't have to. He's gone through already.
Oh, yes, quickly, nice and clean. But I do think he still would have suffered a little bit at the hands of some of these competitors.
Now we've got another pit stop. So he might as well take tyres, presumably, if it happens at the same time as fuel, such as the real world, because it takes 43 seconds to fill an AMG GT3 car. I know that because I watched him do it on the circuit. So if you can get the tyres done, it's a free rubber change.
Oh, Hancock's
but it's not.
Here.
The fuel goes in after the tyres here.
Yes.
I see him. Yeah.
Yeah, so you just had to throw in the fact that you were in the pit lane. Do you remember when we went to the Kyalami 9 Hour and I had to sit and edit videos all day whilst you pranced around the paddock? Literally,
it was fantastic. I really enjoyed it.
I didn't.
I sat in one of these cars. It was epic.
I know. I saw that. I saw the picture. So Singh makes his way down the main straight now, flat out, top gear, pedal to the metal, going past the Denso pits over there as Justino exits the pit lane in 4th position.
So Pelani made from that because he's way ahead, isn't he? The gap is bigger now, and if that's live, because Kaketso Pelani's up into 2nd place now. The pit stops have gone through. Dino down in 4th.
Yeah.
Romes is still to pit, I believe, in 3rd position.
And this is the halfway mark, so this could see the only pit stop strategy. But again, we've seen this play out before. I've got to say that because of the tire wear rates and because of the fuel usage rates on Gran Turismo, the strategies for use are very specific to the sim. So, Rome's over there going very slowly as Justino absolutely plows past. Maybe some team tactics involved there.
Yeah, but look at the gap. It's 8 seconds, and it was only sort of 3 seconds before to Kaketso Pelani. So Pelani really made in that pit stop window, but he pitted a lap or 2 earlier. Whether that plays and that has a role towards the end of this race, we'll have to wait and see.
PTV, that's Liam over there, currently in the pits, leading us off. And Liam,
he's on the hards? He was on the hards, wasn't he? We saw that.
Yeah, so
he'll switch to the mediums now, surely.
Let's see. Still in the pit lane. Still in the lead of the race, Kaketso Pelani in 2nd position, Justino in 3rd place as they now go onto the main straight, and this should see Kaketso retaking the lead.
It should do indeed, and we'll see whether the gap is about 8 seconds still to Dino. Who will regain that second place as he comes through the pit lane. There we go. He goes up into second position. So I think Aketso won through that pit window, either a slightly shorter pit stop or a quicker in or out lap. But the gap's grown.
Yeah, DMR TSM JDJ, I think it's Johan de Jager, says that he thinks there is a one-stop and a two-stop strategy at play here. So it could be the case. Also, watch the last 2 laps. Dino is on fresher rubber. So watch the next 2 laps, I would imagine, is what Kalen Mao was saying. Dino could close that gap a little bit, and maybe we see that 8-second gap shrinking as Sean Mock puts pressure now. That is Stefan Mock, I apologize, puts pressure on Liam over here. And they go through that sweeping right-hander into the hard left-hander. They're hard on the brakes. Oh my goodness me, as they make their way towards the sweep, another sweeping right-hander on this incredibly flowing circuit. I mean, the circuit is just one of my favorites to drive and to watch.
Yeah, it looks like it's tricky to pass though, doesn't it? Because if you cover that inside line, you've got to go all the way around the outside. And these sort of corners, that's a long way round. So I think track position is key here, and that's what Kaketso Polani is hoping for, if that is the case, that fresh rubber plays a part towards the last couple of laps of this race. But Dino's got to get there to make it count anyway. Yeah,
turn 13 and 14 is what they're navigating now, and you're absolutely right. Some of these corners have very strange lines, because if you take the inside line over here, you're just not going to be fast enough down the straight. So it's really a case of give a little bit here, take a little bit there, as we see the guys going line astern down the main straight over here. Mock in 5th position, trying to get that slipstream drive. They zig side to side, and this could be a battle for position as they make their way into the hard braking zone.
Oh, he's covering that inside line now, isn't it? Liam's really holding that inside line. That might compromise his exit here, as Stephen Mock is going to try and go around the outside and cut back.
Yeah, Mock cuts back. Mock gets 4th position. Mock now in 4th position, and
so Liam dropped 2 places there, didn't he? Like pulled straight out of it. I'm not quite sure. The camera angle we saw, we actually missed the pass.
Yeah, that was very strange there. Liam now down in 6th position, and Zivan over there getting that position back. So let's see what happens next. We go now on board there. Oh, Vincent and TTV touch, tires screeching.
And Liam's going to lose 3 places in 1 lap. No, Vincent's not quite made the pass, so he's going to hold on to 2nd place as Liam, but it's not a great lap from him so far. Yeah, he's going backwards.
They're going towards Dunlop now, and this could be the moment that Vincent's been waiting for. Complex set for corners here, zigging and zagging. Maybe Liam is compromised as Vincent looks on, but the number 76 car so far is holding 6th position, but getting massive pressure now from the number 7th position man, Vincent.
Yeah, so Liam had a great pit stop window, come out, found himself in 4th place, and ever since then he's gone slightly backwards. So hopefully this will come back towards him towards the end of the race. But Kaketso Polani, I want to see what the gap is from the front 2 guys, see whether it's reduced down from that 8 seconds from earlier after the pit stops.
Oh yeah, would love to see this battle, of course, raging on here. Positions 6 and 7. That's Vincent Null, who was 3rd in the provisional qualifying times. So Vincent Null does have some serious pace on him. So expect him to give it a good go as Liam Pisanello has to hold off Vincent into turn 1. That turn 1 must be terrifying if you got somebody on your tail like that. And now the battle for 3rd place, hotting up. Sing and Mock. Battle for 3rd place. Mock on an absolute charge at the moment. Fantastic drive for him. But we've always seen Stefan Mock right up there in the mix in the previous season. And this time fighting for a podium position.
We've had quite a lot of shuffling around through the pit stop window, though, haven't we? With Singer going up into the 3rd position in his Petronas-skinned AMG, and now it's the DMR guys coming back. But I do feel surely with a team as experienced as them, they've got it all under control as far as strategy goes, and knows what ultimately is the quickest over 40 minutes. Yeah. We've still got over 15 minutes to go. So I'm expecting them to claw their way back because they were dominating those sort of 2nd to 4th places.
Well, it could be the case that, the sim is slightly different to the previous version, but it does seem like these guys know what they're doing. I mean, as I said, Mock has had success before he qualified fourth. Look at the line he's taken over there. He's going to try and get the advantage now, go down the inside. Yes, he does. Look at the run he's getting. He gets around the outside, runs around the outside. This gives him the inside line for the next corner they touch. He is in the inside, gets third position, goes through the right-hander and holds on to that podium spot with Singh still applying pressure. Singh might have a slight advantage now down the straight. Let's see what happens into turn one.
Yeah, in the toe. We're expecting this toe to be big here at Fuji, and this will be the first demonstration of it because he was tucked right up behind as they exited, and it is. He's going to come back here and get the spot back. He can get the cut back again. No, Singh is going to go into this corner first. But I mean, brake later. That was late. Last of the late breakers there.
Oh my goodness, some would say that was too late. Mark with a little bit of the shoulders out braking maneuver over there. I think that was a big intimidation move there, but we did break, I would say 1 or 2 meters later, ran a little bit wide. Singh also running wide there, and Mark reclaims that third position. But what a tussle. That was move of the day for me.
Yeah, crucially, he braked later, but he had that inside line, wasn't it? So unless you want to crash into him, you have to give him space. So even if you run a little bit deep, Stefan Mocker managed to get third position. So the DMR guys are fighting their way back into this race, but Dino is still not putting any pressure on Kaketso as far as I can see.
I've got a big smile on my face here. That was insane, man. That was classic stuff. And the guys did well too. You know, this is the part of racing that often goes overlooked by many, is that the corners need to be planned. The overtakes get planned, the moves get planned. And if you can end up ahead after 3 corners, that is just advanced racing technique right there by Mark.
And look we're back on with our leader, and the time has come down. It hasn't come down enough though. It's still just over 7 seconds, but Dino's managed to take just over 1.5 seconds off of Kaketso Polani since the pit stop window, and he's running out of time. Only 11 minutes. It's going quick. That clock is going to be his demon.
Kaketso running a 1:39.3. So Kaketso's time since the pit stops consistently in the 1:39 range. So he's doing okay out there with that 7-second gap. And get some great comments over here. Caleb Mars saying dope racing, lads. And DMR boy showing some props there to Stephen, saying stunning overtake by SMP. Kaketso Polani still in the lead.
Yeah, he's going well. When it shows an invalidated lap in lap 18, does that mean he had a slowdown on it? So that might be the reason for him dropping that second that he had previously, because the gap's going back up now. North of the 7 seconds. It's still hovering around there. He'll be comfortable with it, trying to manage it and looking after his tyres.
Yeah, I think that's okay. I mean, if you've got a 7-second gap with 10 minutes remaining, that's about 0.8 of a second, let's say 0.7 of a second per lap. That's manageable. That's worst case scenario. And for someone like Kaketso, he's not going to be too stressed out about it. He does seem to have a cool head on his shoulders. He seems to be used to that kind of pressure. As Vincent now makes a move on Liam, and Liam could do nothing about it. Looks like Vincent gets the 4th place as we cut away there. As we now go back to Dino, getting a bit squirrely there inside. Where Dino also running in the 39-second range at the moment, but his time's not quite as consistent. And this tire screeching and the V8 sound of the Mercedes-Benz onto the main straight there. Dino not quite as consistent as Kaketso Polani. The gap now, though,
he's quicker.
6.6 seconds.
Yeah, he's chopped 0.5 second out of Kaketso Polani in the last lap alone. It might not be quite as consistent, but it is faster. He's knocking sort of 2-3 tenths a lap. So definitely the lap time's coming down. It's just whether he's got enough time to do it. With only 9 minutes to go of this race, it's gone really quick, eh?
It's gone really quick, man. But it always does when I'm talking to you, Dan.
Too kind.
Look how nice we are to each other for a change, eh? Positions 4 and 5, tussling it out. You're hard on the brakes for the first right-hander. Oh, Liam getting it real close there. I think he might lose out though on the exit. But very close, pushing very hard there is Liam. And this here is 5th position, man. Liam has got on board with Vincent right now. Vincent and Liam battling it out for 4th position, but Vincent seems to be doing okay in the 39-second range. Let's see what he does on the next lap. But 39 or 40 seconds, there's about.
Yeah, it seemed quick. All of these guys are quite consistent. All of them within the sort of 39s, and I'm just wondering whether I mean, it's got a certain style about it, this circuit. As we move on throughout this series, we mentioned Bathurst round 2, we've got Spa round 3, classic circuit. Then Trail Mountain, I'm being told, if you're a Gran Turismo player,
oh yes,
you should be really good at that circuit.
That was my favorite circuit when I played GT before. It was a great circuit to go slide on. It was a great circuit to do time attack. And one of the creator of Gran Turismo's favorite dream circuits is Trail Mountain. So look, maybe the guys, I don't know, the hardcore guys these days might be tired of it, but I suspect there are a few guys out there that it's got a special place for, I think, many of the drivers. Does Trail Mountain.
Yeah, so that's round 4. Round 5, we're Daytona International Speedway, the road track. Awesome circuit.
Wow.
And to be quite honest, you'd want to try and get all 5 of those under your belt so you could take the Nordschleife as you drop round, wouldn't you? That's the tactic that I would have at play if I was in here, because you never want to rely on the Nordschleife to get you championship points.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to rely on that. Anything can go wrong there. Anything can go wrong there as Vincent goes into the first turn over there, still getting pressure from Liam, and still only 8 minutes of racing to go.
The lighting's definitely changed as well on the circuit, hasn't it? It's got very, very dark. So yeah, there's nice to see some transitions here in GT7 as well.
Yeah, lots and lots of transitions, and obviously, the realism in this game is, improving in many ways, especially when it comes to the visuals. So it does look visually fantastic, but we've just heard Keketso is struggling though. Keketso is struggling quite a lot. 1 minute 40, and just look how his times are slowing down from lap 14, 139.0, 139.5, 139.7, gets back to a 3 and a 5, but now on a 140. So Keketso has dropped down the gap now 5 seconds, and from our producer, we're hearing that Keketso is definitely struggling a little bit out there. Oh, gets it a little bit wide there.
Yeah, massive change. And I've said that the DMR guys were so well rehearsed that surely they would fight their way back in. They've got themselves in the positions that they were before the pit stop window. And it looks like Dino's just taking huge chunks of time out of Keketso Pilani all of a sudden.
Oh, 4.8
seconds.
And this is where Dino comes into his own. We saw this last season. He is able to apply pressure, he's able to race hard, he's able to take positions, he's able to defend. But now he's got under 6 minutes to try and get ahead of Keketso Pilani, leading this race with 4.6 seconds between them. Will that be enough for Pilani?
Oh, it's going to be so close, isn't it? We had 9 minutes to go and he was sort of 6.8 seconds, and now he's dropped a couple of seconds in 3 minutes. It's going to be really close. We could have a grandstand finish here.
Yeah, grandstand finish indeed. That could definitely be the case. And I love it though. I love it when it comes down to the wire. Like these guys here fighting for 10th and 11th position. KBR and Singh. Oh, Singh goes down the inside. Has a look. This is the final turn, and this is where it's going to count now down the main straight.
Yeah, Singh's been he was right at the top earlier in the podium spots, and now he's fighting for 11th place. This is all over the place with the tyre wear that we're seeing. So definitely you needed to prep for this race for strategy calls, because it's been it's the biggest strategy changes I've seen so far in the ATK Pro Series.
Well, Singh goes down the inside. I think Singh's going to make this one stick hard on the brakes. They hit the brakes at almost exactly the same time. Singh goes down the inside, takes 10th position, and puts himself in the top 10. Some of the guys are saying that rain is coming. We've got Carl Westhuizen saying rain would have occurred.
Yeah, it looked dark, and now it's brightened up again. So I saw the clouds, and I see it getting dark, and I was like, yeah, I was thinking, is that a possibility? But now it's bright and shine, sunny. Look, there you go, Mount Fiji in the sun.
Totally visible is Mount Fiji, and it looks like Singh has secured that 10th position. I would absolutely love to see what is happening further up as Singh secures himself that position. Well done to him. That is Manny
4
Singh,
seconds.
as they
The
call
gap's
him.
4 seconds. It's going to be under 4 seconds now. It is 3.9.
The gap is decreasing. Malose Sebata giving us a clean comment for the change there, Malose. Says Manny is fighting hard. Kalen Mawa says nice overtake. Stephen Berry laughing at the antics in the chat. But it's almost as if the guys are just kind of hanging out in the chat, having a good time watching some racing. I love it.
I love it. They got a good community in the GT.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, they have, and that's to be commended. And what I'm really looking forward to now is 4 minutes to go. running out of laps, Dino. He's got the lap time. He's got the gap down to where it was pre-pit stop window.
3.8.
I still think the clock is his enemy. I just still think he's going to run out on him.
I don't agree. That time might be tumbling down pretty fast. It's 3.5 seconds now. Let's see what it looks like at the end of this lap. They're about to come towards the final couple of corners over here. And this is the end of the lap as Dino now drops it down to 3.4 seconds. It was about 3.5, 3.6. Let's see where he's at once they round this bend. Back to 3.6, back to 3.5. So yeah, for now, Kaketso Pilani has secured that 3-point-something second lead, but I think it's going to disappear, man.
Oh, he's in the same. Yeah, he's just in front of him, isn't he? He's just in front of him. Not even a quarter of a straight. You can see him. He can see his enemy. One thing's for sure: if Dino gets there, then Kaketso Pilani is going to be a sitting duck.
Yeah. Kaketso Pilani getting massive pressure applied. I think Dino is just so fast in all the places where Kaketso might be slow. This is going to be an incredible finish over here. We've got just a couple of laps left. Kalen Mauer says roughly 2 to 3 laps left. We're going to have to wait and see if that is enough. 3.2 seconds. Kaketso must be pushing so hard at this stage. But look at the consistency of Dino with 39.929 in lap 22 and 39.7 in lap 21.
I think it's that sector 3 where Dino's gaining the most amount of time. We're talking turn 10 from Dunlop all the way through to Panasonic, all that twisty stuff. That's where Kaketso Pilani, that clock just constantly tumbles down. But it's coming down now, isn't it? It's going to be under 3 seconds. Oh, but there's less than 2 minutes to go.
Oh, I think it's too late. You were right, Danny boy. I think it's a little bit too late for our man Dino over there. It's always exciting to see someone chasing down. It's always exciting to see the hunt. But Kaketso Pilani holding on to that pressure. And Kaketso, I think he's under 18 years old. I think he might be 17 years old. So Kaketso Pilani doing fantastically well, just keeping and enjoying that pressure towards the final stages of the race. We've done 23 laps so far. Don't think we're going to make it past 25, folks.
No, so there should be 2 laps, shouldn't there? Because they're going to come across the line now, and there'll still be time ticking on the clock as they cross it again. So Dino will be desperate for an extra lap because the time's coming down 2.8 seconds. I think it's going to be a photo finish, but I think Kaketso Pilani might just be able to hang on unless he just falls off a cliff with those tyres.
Well, you just heard now that the guys in Pool B are on the last lap, so congratulations to all those Pool B guys. You just heard that Rav is the guy that's leading, and if he does take the checkered flag, we can't see it on this side, but congratulations to all our Pool B drivers, and well done for sticking it to the competition. The boys on the podium in Pool B.
Yeah, maybe they'll see themselves in Pool A for the next round, and we can check them out. 2.6 seconds with 1.5 laps left.
Kalen Mauer is literally shouting, keep it clean, Kaketso. That's one of the things you want to shout at. I used to do that. You shout at yourself sometimes. Just keep it together, Paige.
I never guessed that you shout, Ernest.
Yeah, I do. Keep it together. 2.1 seconds, Dan. 2.1 seconds.
It's really coming down now. There was a massive chunk just dropped off of the lap time there, wasn't it? 1.9 seconds. 1 lap might be all he needs, but we're over the 40 minutes on the time.
Oh, somebody gets a penalty. 5th place man, Liam, gets a penalty. Oh no, Liam could be overtaken now. Liam could be overtaken. Yes, he is. Liam loses out 5th place, and there goes Rue. Rue takes 5th position. Michael Rue snatches 5th position, and Liam has to slow all the way down.
So we're on the final lap. We're on the final lap. We're on the final corner. Kaketso's all over the place.
Kaketso almost loses it completely.
But he's going to just do it with a second. The gap's going to be literally 1 second as they cross the line.
Oh, wow. He gets it. Kaketso crosses the line and gets it. Dino gets 2nd place over there. Dino gets 2nd place. And across the line goes Mock with a fantastic drive from Stefan Mock. Stefan Mock was in 4th place on the start there, gets that 3rd position. Vincent, who still was in 2nd position, gets 4th place. And Rue, who started off in 6th place, gets 5th position. What a race in Gran Turismo 7. Oh, who saw that coming? What a performance. Guys, I don't know about you guys on the stream. I really enjoyed that one.
Superb. It really was good, wasn't it? Because, I mean, you saw a gap and you thought Kaketso Pilani was just going to run away with it. But literally, if Dino had 1 more lap, he had it. He had it in the bag.
We've got to go to ads as the rest of the boys cross the line. We'll be right back after these short breaks.
cars.co.za.
Welcome to Africa's first ROG arena.
Well, folks, that's what the podium looks like. Ketso on top there. But as someone mentioned in the stream, a couple of brown pants moments over there on the last corner of Fuji Speedway. But I gotta say, you gotta give it to all of these guys, man. Dan Stefan over there with a fantastic drive. He was battling all the way through some clean overtakes. And Dean just with his hunting shirt. He had his hunting sights on. He had his hunting boots on. And he was hunting down Ketso. Pity, he needed one more lap, I reckon.
Yeah, that's all he needed, one more lap. But I mean, I think you can argue each way, can you? The strategy worked out in two different options for this race. And Ketso just had enough pace to hold on at the end. But he did need he did need a trouser change, I would have thought, just before the interview room.
Yeah, but I mean, just look at that. That was so close. One more lap to go. The guys are saying his tires were cooked. We're hoping to get an interview, and I've just heard now we got Ketso ready because I want to hear exactly what happened there. I want to know exactly what happened. Ketso, I just heard the bleep on Discord. Is that you? Are you with us? Ketso we're just waiting for him to join us in the room over here. I see his mic is muted. So Ketso if you could just join us in Discord, and then we'd love to hear from you because I want to know what the strategy was. And if the tires were indeed absolutely toasted.
Yeah, so Ketso pitted sort of 2 laps earlier, didn't he? And he gained a big chunk of time from doing that because he came out with about 8 seconds lead over Dino. But then that time just whittled its way down. And someone in the stream chat called it that the last 2 laps would be interesting. And they are obviously well more versed in GT7 than I am because that's exactly what happened.
So unfortunately, we've just heard now that there won't be any interviews. But Dan, I gotta say, man, this race delivered today. I'm a fan. I'm a fan of these guys. I'm a fan of the top 3 guys and the guys that were 4th, 5th, 6th. They were battles all down. Driver of the day for you, Dan, and this is just out of pure bias here. Who do you say is your driver of the day?
Well, it has to be Ketso, doesn't it? Because he did have outright pace. He got pole position, which was fundamental in his win as well. Dino put on a great charge, but I think we're going to see a lot of action between these two as the season progresses. Lots of different circuits. I'm thinking maybe the roles might be reversed at Mount Panorama, a totally different circuit, and that's what's going to be interesting to see who comes out on top where.
Yeah, no, I don't agree with you on that one at all, Daniel.
Surprise, surprise.
Yeah. For me, it's a tough choice between Mock and Dean. Dean couldn't pull it off. I mean, it's so close for me, but I'm going to go with Stefan Mock on this one. Stefan Mock showing class. That overtaking maneuver was just phenomenal. He gets the podium spot. So maybe move of the day goes to Stefan, and drive of the day goes to Dean. I would say Dean on the charge. He needed one more lap, man. He just needed one more lap, and it was his.
Yeah, but Ketso will be sat there going, well, no, I knew the time was ticking down, but I had it perfectly managed. 1 second's all I needed.
Exactly. Yeah, no, it doesn't matter now, it doesn't. Justino comes into the chat. He joins us in the chat, and he says, Kalen Mauer, well called. Oh, no, that was one Jager. But Dino says, yeah, it was unfortunate. My quality was crap, so I didn't get to work with Ketso, and he slipped from the start. He did say, though, it's a great race, and he absolutely loved it.
Yeah, and we got a drop race. We got a drop round here as well, haven't we? So it's a good banker, if nothing else, as we move on to the following rounds. bring on Mount Panorama, I say.
Bring it on. And I got him. Malo said when he keeps it clean, he is kind of hilarious, though. He says in the comments here, so he says, are we going to crash Hurst next time? He calls
Probably.
it crash
Almost
Hurst.
certainly.
Oh, that's going to be so fun to watch. And if this race was anything to go by, I think it's going to be fantastic. Of course, none of this would be possible without our sponsors. You can see them on the screen, the Mercedes-Benz being our headliner, and this being the Mercedes-Benz ATK Pro Series. And then, of course, as you can see, Puma, Coach, Dave Academy, MSA, South Africa Race Together, Kylo 9 Hour, South Africa GT, and of course, SimGrid, all making this possible. We're now going to cut to our race standings. After this, the first round. And of course, that also means we look at the championship standings, because this is round 1 of 1 at the moment.
Wow, you get 401 points for a win. That's pretty impressive, isn't it?
Yeah, and fastest lap, Coquetto gets himself an extra point there for fastest lap. So that's why only 400 laps for winning, and then an extra point for getting that fastest lap.
Oh, I love that. I'm always a fan of fastest lap rewards, and that was well done, because Coquetto Polani was the quickest guy all day, wasn't he? Started from pole and fastest lap of the race.
Fastest lap of the race, quickest man. But Dino K chasing him down, and it ain't over yet. It ain't over yet, because Dino K is just 3 points behind. And look at that. Stefan Marker just a further 2 points further back, but it's so close. The top 6 guys separated by just 11 points.
Yeah, you don't need a lot to go up in the standings, do you? One good race or one disaster race, and you drop yourself all the way down. And just some of these circuits are going to be red herrings, I think. I can just see it.
Yeah, let's not forget the guys that also had incredible performances. We see Liam over there in 6th place. Singh as well with a couple of good moves. But you know what? There was racing all down the order. Malose giving us some props in the stream. Yes, hopefully that's a serious moment from him and he's not joking. But some good racing all the way in the standings there.
Yeah, and we've not got long to wait for round 2. It's only a couple of weeks' time. So we've got a very short gap from round 1 to round 2. The way the calendar is scheduled. So 19th of June, guys, join us back here for the Battle of Bathurst, or Crashhurst, as was being told.
But just on a personal note from my side, any of the drivers out there, any of the guys out there in the chat, hit me up on Discord. I'd love to get some inside scoops, some strategy stories, some storylines from you guys. So we got a lot more to talk about next time. This was an exciting enough race, so there was plenty to talk about. But I definitely want to hear what's going on behind the scenes as we head into round 2.
100%, totally agree. Also, some changes. What have you found most difficult switching from GT Sport to GT7? Has there been a change apart from the fancy graphics? I'm sure there's a few other things that have maybe take a little bit of time to find your feet, and then we'll start seeing some other guys figuring it out and working their way up that leaderboard.
Indeed, I look forward to it. And that will be all from us for now, folks. Thank you for watching the Mercedes-Benz ATK Pro Series powered by Mercedes-Benz. And as you can see, the sponsors on our screen over there. My name is Ernest Page, joined by Daniel Haynes. And we'll see you guys at the next round.